views. You can SMS at any time during the show. Type Spectrum, leave a space, type in your contribution and name, then send it to 7197. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
Hello, a very warm welcome. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm your host, Edmond. Kizito. Good evening. On Spectrum tonight, how safe are we? Looking at the latest revelation about the quality of meat on the market. How can the danger be contained and quality assured? The Kampala Capital City Authority has embarked on a public health compliance campaign to ensure that city dwellers and those who work in the city are not at the risk of being affected by any danger to public health. Following this campaign, many businesses have been shut down, including places where food that is affordable by the population was being prepared and served from. During this exercise, a lot has been uncovered, including how unscrupulous people are using bad means to earn a living, including selling poor standard consumables, including meat. For some time now, reports have indicated that in some towns around Kampala, people could be eating dog meat, or meat from wild animals, which is mixed with actual beef. It is during this campaign that a group of men were found cleaning the offals of pigs in a drainage channel so they could prepare sausages. The beef processing industry says this development has had a negative effect on both the local and export markets, stressing that the huge gap in terms of standardizing the beef industry needs to be covered. So tonight on Spectrum, we seek to understand the findings of the KCCA cleanup campaign, specifically on the beef industry, the role of the government that it needs to play in the standardization of the meat processing industry, the role of the private sector in ensuring that the consumer is also protected, the relevance of an ISO certification for meat processors in the market, and the role of KCCA and the Uganda National Bureau of Standard in this sensitive food industry. Lastly, we'll also look at how the beef industry is performing and policy interventions that can be taken to make it work better. Our guests tonight, Ms. Dr. John Lule, the Chief Health Inspector at the Kampala Capital City Authority. You're most welcome, Dr. Lule.
Thank you very much, sir.
We're also joined by Mr. Stephan Duyck, the Managing Director, Fresh Cuts Uganda. You're most welcome, Mr. Duyck.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Lule, what's this hullabaloo we hear about unsafe cooked food in the city?
Unsafe
cooked food and meats in the city.
Okay, thank you very much, modulator. And all listeners want to inform you that there has been a common practice for people to sell food which is not maybe fit for human consumption. At the same time, also meat has been sold in different places which are not authorized by KCCA or by the city authority. It has been a common practice that people have been selling even some mochomo on the roadside, and this mochomo which is contaminated sometimes with dust and a lot of flies. It has been a common practice. Some people have been slaughtering in places which are unhygienic. You find some slaughter places are near the grave, others don't have even facilities. So after looking at such a situation, KCCA is coming in to see that the situation is normalized. The situation which died long ago, we are trying to see that we put it into normality by enforcing the standards which are required.
So what can we expect to see at the end of your operation?
At the end of the operation, we are expecting to see some sanity or some hygienic standards of the meat. We want the meat to be hygienic. We want all our people to eat meat which is fit for human consumption. You have heard of some situations where people are eating the sausages from for pork or for pigs, which is very bad. You have heard of some situations where
sausages for pork sausages are not bad per se. Let's clarify that.
And there is what we call eating meat which is not of your interest, or which is not of your interest, which you are not supposed to take. Somebody can give you the donkey's meat or the pork, but yet you wanted maybe the beef. That one is illegal. So that's why we are trying to see that people get the meat which is of their right choice, rather than being given meat which is in another name and yet in the reality is not, and that's not accepted.
False packaging. So some people actually eat donkey meat. Maybe they want to get strength and they've been told by somebody. But let's talk about the market. A lot of people eat chicken by the roadside and other beefs. Is that an industry that you're going to kill in the end?
We are not going to kill that industry completely, but what we are saying...
And it's often mixed with dust because you don't do the road, so there's a lot of dust.
Yeah, what we are trying to see is that people should sell meat from the recommended places. We are going to have some gazetted places where people must sell almost roasty meat, but not selling meat or not roasting meat everywhere where one wants, because that one is exposing our people to dangers. Because we are likely to get a lot of food poison diseases, like for food poisoning, the cholera, and sometime back we had Uganda had some cholera, but these are some of the contributing factors to such diseases. And even people to eat, they're like a marble stock. You can eat the calorie, you can eat anything, because you don't know where this person is getting the meat from. You don't know what is roasting, but for you just go and eat. So want to be very sure who is selling meat from where. Is that place gazetted? Is that meat inspected? Is it fit for human consumption? These are the things which you are monitoring now.
Mr. Duyck, talk to us. You're putting pressure on these people so your business can grow. You want to get all these small dealers on the shop, the roadsides, out of business so you can sell your meat properly.
I think that's a wrong perception. We are very happy what KCC is doing at the moment. It's true that we need some sanity in the market. We do not want to kill the roadside grillers. On the contrary, those are actually quite a big part of our consumers. So we would definitely not want to kill them. But what we need to do is we need to help them standardizing them, making sure that the consumer can know where to buy the right product from. So this, instead of killing those people, what we need to do is basically working with them, empowering them, giving them training, education on how to handle food, rather than discouraging them, because quite a number of people make a nice living out of this, and you know, if you keep them doing that, they will keep off crime. And so it's part of keeping the crime out of the city is by giving them an income, and by I don't think there's anything wrong by them grilling proper sausages, for example.
Talk to us about your company. Maybe let's start from that point. What is Fresh Cuts? What do you do?
Fresh Cuts is a meat processing company. We process various types of meat, from beef, chicken, pork, mutton, goat, all Ugandan produce. Fresh Cuts was born out of a company called Quality Cuts. Quality Cuts is actually the parent. We started Quality Cuts about 18 years ago, and Fresh Cuts is really the wholesale arm of Quality Cuts. So we supply products to the supermarkets, to the hotels, the restaurants, as well as export, and also the roadside grillers. So
give us your own overview of the meat industry, the meat that's being sold on the roadside and other places.
Well, it's a bit unfortunate that the recent what happened with the animal intestines which were cleaned, that particular incident to me was a little bit blown out of proportion, because I honestly don't think that the majority of the products that you can find along the streets or in restaurants, that is what you're eating. Actually, the majority what you eat is produced in proper industries like ours. So I felt that particular incident, it's a single incident, was blown out of proportion, and this is not the standard for the industry. For example, in Fresh Cuts, we do not use animal intestines to make sausages. We use only the best quality meat to make sausages, and that's why we have, for example, ISO 22000 certification. We are basically at international level.
Dr. Lule, talk to us about this, the roots of this crisis that you're trying to resolve. Where does it come from?
I think this root, partly it belongs to, would be at least KCC. The former KCC was a bit lax on enforcing the law. That's partly, which I could say. Partly it's because the staff are also very few, and also partly because of maybe the government policy also. I think we need a biting policy for people who are going beyond the norm, away from the norms. So all these ones together, they are creating this situation. Another situation is the lack of awareness, I think, of our community, especially the consumers. They don't know the dangers of eating meat from places which are not certified. These ones, if our consumers can know that where I'm going to buy the meat, at least this place is okay, maybe it cannot lend me into problems. People.
No, but you're talking about prices, Dr. Lule. How much is a kilo of meat at your place, Mr. Duyck?
It depends. We don't just sell a kilo. We have various cuts, so the prices can range from 6, 7, 8.
How much is a kilo of T-bone steak, for instance?
T-bone would be around, I think, 12,000 shillings.
12,000 shillings.
Yes.
A kilo. That's not very bad. I mean, the last time I checked your meat prices, a couple of years, went around about the time you started, a kilo of meat was cost 1,000, and yours cost 6,000, 6 times as much.
No, that has changed a lot because of, I would say, also the volume that we are turning over, so we are able now to do better prices. We have quite a number of farms that we work with, so we managed to set up a better supply system, so the quality has improved, so all that has an effect on the price, so we are pretty competitive. Actually, customers still have that perception that the meat you buy in the shops is expensive, but it is actually not. In some cases it's even cheaper, because when you buy a kilo of meat in our shops, you get meat 1 kilo 100%. If you buy a kilo of meat along the roadside, you have 40% bone and 30% and 60% meat, so it's actually cheaper to buy from the shops.
What's your capacity in case this? Do you have the capacity to supply the entire market? Just in case, what percentage of the market can you supply?
Well, I wouldn't say we have the capacity to supply the whole market, and I don't think it would be fair for me to supply the whole market. I think everybody needs to survive. But we do have quite a large capacity to supply a good portion, especially I would say the more formal market. Yeah, we have that capacity.
Dr. Lule, let's talk about the origin of this meat. You bring cows. I'm still baffled by why you bring hooves and horns into the capital on trucks all the way from Bar and other places. Let's look at the abattoir. Abattoirs clean. They are normally licensed by you and overseen by you. Are they clean? Where does the problem come from?
The abattoirs, or the abattoirs which are approved, I can say in the city there are about 3. Some abattoirs are working without even license. Some others, they are not approved. But at where we are now, in fact, there is an announcement which was put in the press where we are requiring all the abattoir managers and the owners to register their abattoirs with us, so that we can go a step to inspect them and certify whether they are okay or not. But as I'm talking now, there are some abattoirs which are not on standard, which you cannot really accept. But at the same time, we have started with sensitizing these abattoir managers. What are the required standards? So that by the time they come for registration, things are okay. If they fail, those ones, I think they will be kicked out of the business.
What's the deadline?
The deadline, which was set towards the end of this month of September, we are going in for these abattoirs which are illegal. Yeah. And there are some abattoirs, especially for pork, which we went ahead just to close. Those ones in Chebando, Wandegea, those ones we closed them because they were not measuring to the standards which were.
How do they do it? They hit the pig on the head? How do they do it?
They hit the pig on the head. At the same time, they are slaughtering.
And it screams.
They are slaughtering from the bare ground. And next week there is even a pita tree is there. They are really.
And the customers are waiting with their neckties under the mango tree.
Which is a really bad situation in which we are living.
So let's talk about the people because that's a large number of people sell roast chicken in the evening. Some of them it's the entire source of livelihood. What is going to happen to those men and women?
For people who are surviving on those chicken, what we are saying, we also called upon those people to come and register with KCCA so that we can know where they are operating from. And then we can guide. Some
of them operate at very low capital levels. You don't expect them to have that capacity.
No, I don't think we can set standards which are too sophisticated or too high. No, we shall set at least the bare minimum standards which people can afford, especially our low-income earners. But what we want is not to chase them out of the business, but at least to modulate. To make the standards okay, and which can be favorable to them, but at the same time protecting our health.
Let's look at a chicken man who sells chicken by the roadside. He slaughters the chicken in his home yard, in the garage or somewhere. Minimal, hygiene standards. Sells it by the roadside in the evening at Cementi or wherever. What kind of standards are you going to set for him?
I think some of them have to be maybe put into a group those people, they have to make kind of an association. Like, for example, in one day, yeah, some of those chicken people, they have formed the association. They are getting a slaughtering place, a common slaughtering place, and then they can come and sell when they organize it like that. See, the problem which has killed us, or which is spoiling most of our people want to work individually, but yet they cannot afford the money, they cannot afford the standards. This is what we are trying to health educate our people on. Let them form themselves into a group, improve their area, and then we accept them to work.
So you're going to have them into cooperatives?
Yes.
A little bit like Utoda for the taxi drivers?
Like that.
All right, Mr. Duyck, talk to us about meat, since you're an expert on this. How can you tell good meat from bad meat? But maybe let's start from red, white, and so on, fish, chicken, and other things.
Well, in the first thing I need to say that Uganda has actually world-class meat. We are scoring extremely high when it comes to quality of meat. One of our problems that we are facing in Uganda is once the animal is slaughtered, then what happens to the handling of it? But from the beginning, from the start, from the origin, the meat is actually one of the best quality meats that you can find in the world. The chicken, the same thing. Chickens, for example, are grown by smallholders. They are fed very nicely. The feeds that most of the farmers prepare, they prepare it themselves. So what the chicken is eating is actually very good. The problem only arises afterwards. Once the animal is slaughtered, then what happens to the handling, and that's where most of the problems occur.
So what should we do to make it better, to have a clean chain to the end?
Well, I think what KCC is doing is the right thing. We need to sensitize the people that are preparing, whether we start with the abattoirs and then the butcheries, but also we need to sensitize the public. The public should be aware of their health. What they're eating is extremely important for them. So they should be actually driving the demand. If the customer sets the standard, if the customer will say, well, I will not buy this meat because I do not believe that your hygiene standards are to what I require, and automatically these people will not be able to sell. So if the customer demands for a good quality product and a hygiene and a certain hygiene, then the one preparing will be forced to adopt. And that's what we are seeing slowly with the restaurants and the hotel industry. Before, the hotel industry and the restaurants were buying from the roadside, I would say, or from any abattoir. Now you can see more and more restaurants are becoming conscious. They are demanding good quality. They want to serve a good quality product to their customers. So they are now demanding the butchers to up their game.
And which meats are safe? If you had to choose, for instance, tell us about yourself. What kind of meats would you choose on a monthly basis? How much white? How much fish? How much poultry? How much red meat?
Well, for your health, it's not good to eat too much red meat, but a good mixture, white meat, the chicken is actually very good for your health, low cholesterol. But this said, the Ankole cow especially is very low cholesterol, so it's actually very good for your health. Sausages, but not too much. Again, from reputable companies, you can eat sausages. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Again, I stress the fact reputable companies like ours, that prepare the sausages with proper products, those are safe to eat. There's absolutely no problem with that.
Doctor, talk to us about the dangers of the kind of meat you've been describing. What happens when a man eats donkey meat, knowingly or unknowingly?
I think if you eat meat which is not of your choice, that's very bad. If I ate pork thinking it's ghost meat...
Well, that's wrong. It has religious implications. A man should not eat pork when he's not supposed to eat pork.
Absolutely. So, different people, they have different cultures. Some people don't eat pork, they don't eat monkeys. Why should you sell to me monkey when in the guise of beef? That one is illegal, and we don't like it. But, however, when you are looking at the quality of the meat, I think, if I go back a bit, it starts from even the farm, because KCCA is monitoring from the abattoir when they do the antemortem inspection. They are looking at the diseases which are right from the farm before the meat, the cow is slaughtered. Has it come when it is sick? So that one we condemn it straight away. Then at the slaughtering places, we also monitoring the quality of the meat from there, from the farm, slaughtering places, transportation, even after the butchery. We are monitoring to see that at the time of consumption, a person gets very good quality meat.
And what kind of diseases would one get if this cow was sick, for instance?
There are a number
does that come down to the plate?
There are a number of diseases which we can really get. For example, if an animal had anthrax, definitely even the people who have eaten the meat will get a problem. We have diseases like food poisoning, salmonella food poisoning, which is associated with the unhygienic condition where this meat is sold or where it is slaughtered from. These are problems. We have worm infestation. These days we have a lot of disease tapeworms, the Tinea saginata.
So that's more common in pork, I think.
It's common in pork and also in the beef. We have the beef tapeworm and also have the pork tapeworm. And by the way, the pork tapeworm is very dangerous again.
More bad if you don't cook it well.
If you don't cook it well, it is more dangerous. We have even the dog tapeworm. The dog tapeworm is also very dangerous.
If you eat dog meat.
No. It's because maybe the cow will eat the grass, which is having the cow dung, the dog's dung, and it's having that worm, and when you eat it, it's very dangerous. It affects very different parts of the body, the lungs and the kidneys, and then we endanger. So there are so many diseases. That's why even TB, tuberculosis, these days tuberculosis is very rampant. Partly it's because people are eating meat which is not inspected. That is what KCCA and other bodies, we are trying to see that people eat meat which can give them life rather than diseases.
Well, but let's talk about steaks. Some steaks are well done, some are not really well done, and they serve it to you. How do you protect yourself if it's not really a well done steak and you made it by choice? Maybe it's Mr. Duyck again.
I think again, buy it from reputable places, and that would be my first advice. But if when we look at what's happening in the city, the abattoirs, most of the approved abattoirs have KCC doctors, so all the meat is inspected. So again, I believe that the majority of what is eaten is of a good quality and it is quite safe. We should not blow this really out of proportion, and there is some, there is a percentage which is not proper, and I'm sure Doctor will agree with me. It is not, I would say, the general rule. So in most of the cases, what you're eating is of good quality and is safe. But again, it depends where you're eating it from, and it should be the consumer to demand to insist on and to make sure to know where this product comes from.
Well, some of them eat it after having certain drinks, so they might not be able to. They rely on the seller to determine the quality. We're going for a break. When we come back, we'd like you to talk to us about how this has affected your business as a prototype of maybe others that could have been affected in your line. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. We'll be back.
With ShopRite's lowest prices, you will get great savings on the widest range of back-to-school supplies like 2 dozen 48-page Pickfair F5 exercise books at 6,400 shillings only, 5-pack blue or black nice clear pens at 1,350 shillings only, and a dozen red and black Pickfair pencils at 1,000 shillings only. Offer valid until 9th September 2012. ShopRite, lower prices you can trust, always.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight. How safe are we? Looking at the latest revelation about the quality of meat on the market. How can the danger be contained and quality assured? Our guests tonight, Dr. John Lule, the Chief Health Inspector at the Kampala Capital City Authority, Mr. Stephan Duyck, the Managing Director of Fresh Cuts, Uganda. You will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion. How did this affect your business, Mr. Duyck?
Well, after the first revelations, when they showed on the news and as well in the newspaper, it affected it quite badly. People all of a sudden got a shock, and which is normal, because the story was actually pretty badly reported. There was no really follow-up. What they showed was one side of the coin. They didn't show the other side. They didn't show yet how it is really done, what most of the products are in the market. So definitely it affected us badly. It dropped the sales pretty badly. Moreover, I know that quite a number of people that were buying from us and who grill the sausages on the roadside have unfortunately gone out of business and are now slowly starting to come back. They're trying their best again to create confidence to the customer that the product they're eating is of good quality. What we have tried to do is we are trying to demarcate our grillers that buy our products. We give them a specific sigiri. They get a uniform from us. We have our team of 4 people that go out to go and check on those sigiris, whether they're really grilling our sausages, so whether they're really consuming our products. The customer should do the same thing, should try to check whether they are actually grilling the genuine product. So this is what we've tried to do, and it's slowly coming back. I think the consumer also is aware that, you know, it cannot be all bad. And actually, to be honest, KCC is not fast asleep. They have been checking. You know, it's now they've gone to a big operation, but we should not, you know, think that these people are not doing their work. They are. We have been working with them in the past already. We're trying also to sensitize our grillers to work together with KCC. So. I think the whole story was blown out of proportion to my mind, and I think we are slowly coming back to sanity now.
Dr. Lule, how do you tell good meat? If you go to walk to a butcher, the normal ones that we know, how can you tell good meat from bad meat?
Yeah, the first thing is to see where that meat is sold. Is that place, is it licensed?
The usual butcher, the market that you and I know.
Okay. Then second thing, that meat must be stamped. We have some stamps. All meat which is slaughtered from our abattoirs, we have some stamps approved by KCCA. Then secondly, also you should look at the meat, but that one you can it has some professional point of view. If meat is not dripping with water, if it is not bleeding too much, if it has set properly, that one really shows you that that is good meat. Apart from some other things which, like if it's not too fatty again, from that nutritional point of view. But at least if meat is stamped and if it is sold from a recognized place, we are sure that meat is okay.
Recognized places, which are those?
Recognized places which I'm talking of now, in the butcheries, the law has passed that all butcheries must be licensed, and they must be having...
Let's talk about the outlets, the markets, where the
markets. In the marketplaces, in the marketplaces, ideally you just look for a stamp. If it is stamped, that meat is okay.
And do you know particularly bad bean places that are notorious for giving people unlicensed meat?
What I know is, especially these slaughter places which are in the outskirts. Those slaughter places in the outskirts, see, those ones, they give people bad meat. Honestly, they give people bad meat.
Bad meat. It's not standardized.
Not
donkey
standardized.
meat sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes even I could see even dog's meat sometimes. But at least those outskirts, the slaughterhouse which is not approved by KCCA. If you are going to buy from such a slaughter place, know that anything which falls on you, you are answerable. The KCCA is not answerable for that because you have gone in places which are not approved by KCCA. However, we are also trying our level best to see that all places which are slaughtering, they must be registered, must be inspected, and they must satisfy the public health.
I'd like you to talk to us if we think we have enough slaughterhouses. But before you do that, Mr. Duyck, what's your overview of this kind of standardization? Does it meet the standard?
Well, there are two very different standards. For when we talk about the products that you find in the supermarkets and the products that you can find from our shops, for example, those are I would say acceptable or actually the best standards that you can find around and you can trust. And what we see also more and more is that the consumers are shifting their habits from buying meat from the roadside, even from the roadside butcheries, to these reputable supermarkets, because they are more and more the offering is bigger, and customers have started to realize that what they're buying from the supermarket is 99% safe, rather than taking the risk from the roadside. So you can see that there is a slight there's a shift now in people's habits. They're not buying the live chicken on the roadside anymore. They're now going into the supermarket and buy the packed frozen chicken or the beef. So that's a very good development that we see in the market. So when we talk about standards, those are the products that can give you those standards. I don't really can say that when you see the meat hanging outside on the roadside that there are any standards applicable there. Those are no standards, if you see what I mean. So the standards in the shops, in the supermarkets, those are they're there. And the price differentials are coming down. The margin is narrowing. It's definitely narrowing because there's bigger competition in amongst the supermarkets. As I said, the volume is becoming bigger. Honestly, for say if you pay 15-20% more, but for a good healthy product, people should not compromise their health, especially for 20%. said, what you eat is very important, and it can cost you more on doctor's bills than paying 20% more for your meat product.
It's kind of a health insurance, and you pay premium
Absolutely,
on
yes.
meat that you're assured of its quality. Dr. Lule, do you have enough slaughterhouses in the capital?
In the capital, the city, we have called all the owners of the slaughterhouses, all the abattoirs, to come and register with us. I know there could be so many, but some of those are not on standard. But as for now, at least you have those ones which you have approved. At least you have 2. We have, at least for the beef, we have the Kampala city abattoir
in industrial area,
and also meat, the meat industry that is there. Then
what is the second one?
The meat industry, that's top cuts.
Those are the only abattoirs. There's none in Kalelwe that's licensed by you.
In Kalelwe, we have not yet approved that one. It is not yet. It's still struggling to meet the standards, but we have not yet approved them.
So the one in industrial area is approved. The others, you just turn a blind.
Yeah, but they are at least trying their level best to consult to see how they can improve, and then they also registered. So at least that is what we are trying to see. But for chicken also, as my friend has told us, it's also coming. It's also, I think, approved, because the standards which we are looking at, they are critical. Those are standards which you must keep our meat safe away from. Some meat should not be exposed to flies. Animals should be slaughtered where there is maybe the smeared where there's cement, and such standards. Protected surfaces. And even the workers themselves, they must be medically examined. We are looking at, and then maybe the professional workers who are in such slaughter places. Are we having veterinary inspectors of this meat? This is what we are looking at, among other standards.
And do we really have to bring the horns and hooves to the capital?
That one is still a challenge. I think it should be a national policy, so that maybe they create slaughtering places somewhere outside the city. That is why, but it's still a challenge which we are facing in the city.
Mr. Duyck, where does most of your meat come from?
Well, most of our meat, all of our meat comes from Uganda. We have a large database of smaller chicken farmers that we work with, as well as cattle farmers. We have a veterinary doctor that works for Fresh Cuts, that goes out to the different farms that we work with to help them to improve their efficiency, to help them to improve the quality they are producing. So we work with a very large number of local farmers, and in our new strategy that we have just developed, because we've just recently been joined by a Mauritian group from a company from Mauritius, IBL, and our strategy is to empower those smaller farmers. We want to build a chicken slaughterhouse, because that's one of the other problems. Most of the chickens are now slaughtered domestically, so we are planning to build a chicken slaughterhouse and offer that as a service to our farmers. So they will bring us the live chicken and we will slaughter. Currently, what we do to address the issue of hygiene and bacteria, we actually disinfect all the meat, the chicken, the beef, and all the other items that come into our factory. Goes through a disinfection process that has been approved by the World Health Organization.
And what's your product range?
We have a very large product range. We do fresh meats. We do all the fresh meats that are available in Uganda, and then we have a very large variety of processed meats. Actually, in East Africa, we are the only company that have that complete variety of processed meat, from cooked hams to sausages to barbecue meats. So we have a very big variety of. We are a one-stop center for meat products.
And we're talking about beef, chicken. Give us the range.
Yes, beef, chicken, pork. No.
You don't do fish.
Actually, no. We are meat.
Red and white meat.
Exactly. We do mutton, lamb. We call it baby lamb because here people call mutton lamb, so we call it baby lamb. So we also do those products. So the whole range of products which are available. That's what we do.
You don't do donkey meat.
We do not do donkey meat. No.
Not even camel meat.
No camel meat.
It doesn't matter what anyone.
No big market for that here, I think.
Do you have enough animals, or do you have it for what?
Actually, I'm very pleased because a bit more than a year ago we had quite some issues with drought and so on. So we were suffering in actually with the beef. Beef was short in supply. I'm really encouraged, and we're also trying to encourage our farmers to grow more, because if they are guaranteed of a certain market, they will grow more. So beef has become more available. Chicken is still a problem, believe it or not. You might have seen the advert or the newspaper articles about people importing chicken. We Fresh Cuts do not import chicken, but we do have a problem with the constant the supply. The supply of chicken comes in waves, and sometimes there's an abundance, exactly, and then sometimes there's a shortage. Now the problem that the small farmers face when there is an abundance, what happens? The prices drop because they do not know where to sell their products, so they need to drop their prices, and that's the time when they lose money, because they have paid the feeds at a certain price, and then when they do the costing, it doesn't make any more sense, because they had to drop the price so much to be able to get rid of the chicken. Because if you don't get rid of the chicken, you have to keep feeding it as well, so it still costs you money. So that's where we are. So the problem is inconsistency in supply.
Well, but you are there, you are an important industry player. You should be able to provide a buffer for these people.
We are, yeah.
Quality and keep it for months if necessary.
Definitely. This is what we are doing. We actually work with contract farmers. Actually, already now, today, most of our farmers know in 6 weeks or in 8 weeks what they need to deliver to us. So this is now exactly, that has been our answer to that persistent problem. Rather than importing, we do not import, but we have helped these farmers, these contract farmers, to give them a steady market.
And Dr. Ali, do these troubles affect fish as well?
Fish?
Yes.
Yeah, fish was also going ahead to say that we standardize the sale of fish, because also fish has been sold in some unhygienic places. But we are in touch now with we have a department, we have the fisheries officers here in KCCA, and we're moving with them to see that we improve the places. And also it's now by legislation that every person who is selling fish, he must get a license from KCCA. Even these people who are selling also the meat, the butcheries and whatever, in the same time also they must also have the license and approval from KCCA. Just the.
You see men moving around with bicycles in the neighborhoods, selling fish.
All those ones, so long as they're selling the city here,
they have to be licensed.
They must be licensed.
At the moment?
Those people, they are supposed to have a permit. It's not a license, but they are supposed to have a permit. At least if they are to transport the oil, to supply the fish to our maybe supermarkets, they must have those permits.
No, the men who sell at the roadside in the suburbs.
If they are selling
with
a
bicycle, he has a permit in his back pocket.
It's a requirement, but I know some of them, as per now, they don't have. But we are going ahead to reach on them to see that we tell them to have the permit.
How about what other food ranges are suspect? Cabbages? Talk to us about that.
The cabbages?
Well, other food types that are not meats.
Yeah, we have some other foods which are not in the class of meat, but maybe like this cooked food or whatever. The whole idea or the whole goal is to have food safe, which is when food is sold to the people.
Only in Kampala.
Or take away and have a. We have
an idea. Women cook the food in the suburbs and they come bring it in the morning. You want to send them back to the village.
We have a strong program of seeing wherever food is coming from. A health inspector reaches there.
You're going to send them away like you sent away the vendors. You want a clean city. These women will go back to the village.
Not
necessarily
sending them away, but what we are saying, we must know there's also food. Where are they preparing food from? We must see where they are preparing food from. We must see how they are transporting food. It's a common practice. People bring food on these carts, the bigari, and maybe some people bring food on the wheelbarrow.
Yes.
Wheelbarrow which is carrying maybe the cow dung, or is carrying bad things at the same time is carrying food.
Maybe the food is clean.
So that's why we are intending to regulate the way food, the whole food chain has to be regulated. So
but you won't do to them what you did to the vendors?
Not necessarily. Yeah.
Send them to the village.
Our intention is that people consume food which is not dangerous to them, but which will give them good health. Yeah.
Well, listeners, this is Spectrum. It's your turn to speak out. You can call in now. The question now. How safe are we, looking at the latest revelation about the quality of meat specifically on the market, and how can the danger be contained and quality assured? We have an official from KCC and an official from an important meat producer in Kampala. Our number 0414-348-111, 0312-260-390, 0312-261-390. When you call in, please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Yes, sir, your name?
I'm calling from Chisenyi.
Chisenyi, your name?
Ali.
Ali, yes. That's Ali in Chisenyi. Meats in supermarkets put in the same refrigerator as pork. It should not happen.
This one.
Okay, we have another caller. Spectrum, hello? Hello? We lost that caller. Dr. Lule.
By legislation, this meat of different types must be separated. And we know we respect the religion of our brothers and sisters of who are Muslim. So a fridge which is for pork is not it should not keep again beef. At least we are ensuring complete separation of these foodstuffs. That one is at least adhered to, and we are enforcing it so that they separate the pork from the beef. That one we are trying.
Spectrum, hello?
Hello, good evening, Stephan.
Good evening, sir. Your name?
Richard from Kizito.
Richard, can you switch off your radio, walk away from it?
Sure, I've done that. Quick.
Spectrum, hello?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Your name?
My name is Lule.
Spectrum, hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Your name?
I'm Hakim.
All right, let's get that response. Okay, we have another call. Let's take one final caller. Okay, we've lost them. Dr. Lule.
Yes, thank you.
You see your fingers in KCCA. Go on.
Okay, then you've talked about maybe first of all the expired foodstuffs in the supermarket.
Mr. Duyck will talk to us about that.
Okay, then the staff handling people wrongly. Yeah, we're very sorry. I have to apologize.
Also, they are Al-Shabaab.
I have to apologize on behalf of the staff who did like that.
Even arrest men stepping on grass.
Now that one we are still having a training and action of our staff so that we change the image of KCCA. We are very apologetic for that, but I think we are going to change on that. But at the same time, we are telling the public, don't also provoke KCCA by stepping on that grass, by doing wrong.
You take them for stepping on the grass, and you're not feeling potholes. You're not perfect yourself, like that.
We are trying our level best to beautify our city, and this city is ours for all. So what we're trying to say, don't provoke the law.
You step on the grass, you end up in Luzira.
That is. So we are trying our level best to say that stuff so that they handle people.
No, but let's get clear on that. A man steps on the grass, you take him to Luzira. Is that the biggest crime a man can commit in the city?
Then is
give us the mindset. You have the mindset of a very strong.
There is an equivalent to that. You either pay fine or you are taken.
How much? What's the fine?
It's about 4 currency points.
How much? That's 80,000.
About 80,000, or you go to Luzila. But some people, at least to begin with, this, we are.
Even the traffic policemen are not that ruthless. They are kind men.
We are starting with sensitizing the public. The public has already been sensitized about it. However, if a staff handles you or mishandles you,
this is not staff. This is a system. Don't Luzila is not one man. It's a system. It's a structure.
That is a judicial role. It's a judicial role to take. To decide whether to take you to Luzila or to give you a fine.
It's the mindset you originated in case a man steps on the grass, you take him to Luzila. He throws a piece of chewing gum on the street, you take him to Luzila.
However, the whole idea is let's make the city ours. If people can observe these standards, I believe people will not go to Luzila or whatever. But the problem is, despite the warnings, some people are still behaving in a.
So you take them to jail.
But at least we are encouraging the public, at least to be a watchdog to others. Nobody should slow anything anywhere. Don't step on our grass, because we have invested in a lot of money in order to beautify our city. But sensitization is continuing. But if a staff mishandles you, the good thing, the judge will not mishandle you. So we are acting within the law. But we are trying to see that everything.
These are your own courts anyway. KCCA courts. Go on, sir.
Then he has asked about the drug in the meat. Yeah, we still have a challenge in this area because we don't have those machinery here to detect immediately the meat which is having the drugs there. That is still a bit of a challenge. But here we are sensitizing the farmers. There are sensitization programs which are going on. Even there, the grassroots at the where the meat is coming, where the animals are coming from. That if an animal has been injected with some drugs, within that we at least should leave some period.
What's the window period?
At least they're talking about 2 months. At least it should be
2 months. You inject a cow with the drug, you wait for 2 months.
My public specialist on that one, I think veterinary staff, they have very good idea about it on that. But at least there must be a period which is left. But what we are trying to see, there are some other conditions which we must ensure apart from the drug where we need the machinery or whatever. There are some conditions which you must ensure. For example, the resting of the animal. When an animal comes into the abattoir, it must rest before it is slaughtered, at least for 24 hours, for the meat to set very well. Even the transportation of the meat, we are ensuring that those things are done. Don't bring to the city the meat which is emaciated, the animal which is emaciated, all which is sick, others you will lose.
Or miserable, the way they transport them.
Miserable, there are people who are tying animals, and the animal's tail, they tie it, they call it chimanslo. Some animals, they go on even hitting on their vehicle. Caning cows, and then the animal is fully bluish.
Corporal punishment.
That one we are discouraging. But on the issue of the drugs, we are still studying it more about it.
Maybe as we work on the grass, you should emphasize that even more and then follow up on the grass later. Mr. Duyck, expired sausages in supermarkets.
Yes, I'm really sorry to hear for that gentleman that he bought expired products. Actually, the first responsibility is the retailer himself. We do not have the retail in our hands, unfortunately. What we try to do, we have a big team that goes out to the supermarkets. We go, we check, we make sure that our products are good, of good quality. If some of it happens that in a supermarket the fridges go down, the product has been defrosted, so then we make an arrangement with the retailer. We take back our product, or we find some other alternative, but we make sure that product does not get to the end consumer. But ultimately, really, it's the responsibility of the retailer, and unfortunately we don't have all of that in hand.
So you have the capacity, you have an arrangement where you can withdraw some of the product?
We do, yes, absolutely. It's in our interest to make sure that the consumer gets a good quality product. If it has a Fresh Cuts name on it, it's in our interest. So we do help. And I have to say that actually 99% of the supermarkets we do sell to are reputable supermarkets. So, and they also are aware, they're also in business, so they are aware that they shouldn't be selling expired products. It's not good for them, so they are aware of that.
And Dr. Lule, maybe as we wind down, what meats may not be sold in this city?
What meat must not be sold in the city?
Well, which meats are not acceptable?
In the city, at least the one thing which meat which is not fit, let's
assume it's done in a clean place, but what types of meat may not be sold in the city? It does not matter what the hygiene is.
The what could say meat which has not set properly should not be sold in the city.
I mean, if one man slaughtered his cow, he can sell it.
I think
would you allow donkey meat on the market?
Donkey meat, we don't have the bar, or especially, I mean, what would say meat like for the dog will not allow.
Oh, you don't allow dog meat?
Dog meat we not allow.
In some places they allow.
In our culture, we don't allow the dog's meat to be sold in the city. We have these bars like the Marlboro stock or whatever. We don't allow them. Unless we have the law, the meat law, which meat according to our culture is acceptable in the city. But these other meat which are coming, the monkey's meat, for example,
not even monkey meat
in the city. So we are within the code of meat inspection, which meat is allowed, meat which is falling within the culture of the city.
How about camel meat?
Camel meat is allowed in the city.
You can eat and buy and eat camel meat.
Camel meat is allowed, but also we are saying it must be slaughtered from a recognized place, like maybe from city abattoir. That one is recognized.
Hippo meat?
Hippo meat, we have not got those people selling the hippo meat, but at least with time, when it continues, we shall have some regulations.
Could get a market for hippo meat. Exclusively prepared hippo meat. Only safe in this place. We have to go. Thank you very much, dear guests. Dr. John Lule, Chief Health Inspector at the Kampala Capital City Authority. Thank you very much for coming to Spectrum tonight. Mr. Stephan Duyck, Managing Director of Fresh Cuts Uganda. Thank you for coming to Spectrum tonight.
Thank you, Edmond.
Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond. Spectrum will be back tomorrow. Up next is the news in English.
Everybody talking like this in the car, this in the bar, doesn't even matter.